When you have a naked toddler in your office and you're like, should I go live? Should I not? I don't know. Yeah, it's good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Kendo UI R2 live stream. My name is Alyssa Nicoll, and these are my cohorts. Will you introduce yourselves in a seemingly normal manner?
Yeah, I'll even keep my clothes on. I'm Kathryn Grayson Nanz, and I am the developer advocate for KendoReact. And I am super hyped to be here to share all of the R2 goodness.
And I'm Carl Bergenhem. I'm the product manager for Kendo UI. So all the goodies that we're talking about today and beyond have been kind of part of what I've been dealing with the last couple of months. So really excited to see it come out, and of course see everybody's reaction to it.
Oh my goodness. Welcome. Good morning, chat. I see many of you are here. I feel bad because I realized last time I was on stream, like we got rated. And I think it was a good solid 4 minutes later that StreamYard updated the numbers. And I was like,
it lags sometimes.
It does. It lags. So apologies if we're not greeting you as you come in. You might have to be loud in the chat, but we're here and we want to talk to you, answer your burning questions, debug some bugs, have some fun with the R2 release. And then also we should probably promote the webinar next week, because today is like a dabble. It's like a, here's your sprinkles, and then this is a really horrible analogy. Kathryn, analogy me, please.
Ooh, analogy. I don't know. I like to think of this as just like a hangout time, like to play with the new stuff. We get into it. We do some more hands-on demos. And then the webinar is a time for us to really deep dive on all of the information, all of the details. So this is more of a playful time, and that's more of an informational time. So we might not hit everything today, but we'll hit a lot. Webinar, we're going to hit 100% of everything, and we're going to get into each piece of each new component and each new thing. It's a lot more structured, I would say.
And any time to get to hang out with you beautiful people, we're down for. So come hang out next week too. Hi, I see lots of people from Sophia. Sprinkle analogy is good one. I'm like,
nice.
Yeah, where do you go from sprinkle though? What are you throwing at your ice cream if not sprinkles? Anchors? I don't.
I was imagining this is a Salt Bay situation.
Yeah, but with sprinkles. Yeah.
I love you guys. You're beautiful. So there's some things, and we only have Carl for the first 60 minutes. And so there's some questions that I have for specifically the brilliance that is Carl. So I didn't know if we could start with those and then move off into the regions of, hey, it's good to see you all. You can always whip more sprinkles. Yeah, more whipping sprinkles. Me and my mother had this debate all the time of who has the best ice cream in town. And she'll go on and on and on that it's Brahms. And I'm like, Mom, Brahms doesn't have the whip topping. And she's like, nobody's in it for the whip, Alyssa. And I'm like,
I would agree. It's about the ice cream. We go back and forth on this because my husband is one of those people who will put more whip than pie at a Thanksgiving situation. There'll be a little sliver of pie, and there's I can't.
I just I bypass the pie, and just go straight for I love whipped topping. I don't know. Carl, where do you weigh? Actually, I know where Carl weighs in. Carl is a macro counting, body weight lifting beast who probably has never tried whip topping a day in his life.
No. Come on now. I definitely eat a lot of ice cream. I am all about the soft serve. So to me, adding whip on top of it. I'll do it if it's a part a Sunday or something like that, right? Yep. Or some crazy ice cream invention. There's 2 places. So I'm originally from Sweden, and there's 2 places where they just have, that's what they do. Crazy ice cream creations are essentially your entire week's worth of caloric intake in one ice cream. Then it can be whip and all this other stuff on top of it. But if I'm going to my local place or if I judge a place, it's always by the type of soft serve that they have. That's my go-to.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and it's going to be a mess, but we can keep talking about soft serve. Just don't be frightened. Don't want you all to start screaming.
Yeah, that's what people came here for. My opinions on soft serve ice cream.
All right, in the chat, I need to know, soft serve fans or like regular style ice cream? What do you call normal hard ice cream? What do you call that?
I know, like you need a scooper. Like if you need a scooper to get it out of the bucket,
or ice cream in the soft serve style.
I'm saying if it's soft serve and froyo like based, I don't think it can be beat like on this planet with like as far as like something I crave and want in my life.
Yeah, soft serve all the way.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But my husband's definitely the opposite. So
I don't know if there are ice cream places around you that do the same thing that like frozen yogurt places to me seem like they got the idea right where they go by weight. So you can do, you can put on whatever you want to.
I'm always so embarrassed by it. I'm like, that many ounces? Oh my.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a little bit much. But, it's all about the toppings, right? But I don't think a lot of ice cream places do that where they're just like, here's, the cost of weight per ice cream and then all the toppings and you figure it out. So I think that's why I generally like froyo because first of all, it's close to the soft serve texture. Plus I get to do everything I want. And then nobody's asking me, oh, then what? I can say myself as I'm putting on all the time.
I have to quit and reopen the screen share. I love you guys. I'll be right back.
This is how, and then the demo gods just eliminate all
That's
of us
always
one by
how
one.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like now I should probably check.
Yeah, double check. I'm not sharing anything. I'm just here to provide entertainment. And
mine's doing the same thing. I'll wait for Alyssa to come back so I don't leave you. But
if it's just me, I don't know if I can entertain everybody.
No, I'll hang with you. But I'm glad that Alyssa discovered that first so that you take one for the team. I'll bail while she's talking Angular because who cares about that?
I do. Look at this. I got the Angular red on. Yeah.
I actually, as much as I'm laughing, I have got my ngconf hoodie.
Yeah, they're usually pretty comfortable.
They're the superior. This is the best hoodie I've ever owned.
Right? Is it the Roots brand? Yeah. It's like something Roots, right? Like
I took it off so that I could have.
I was so impressed with that. I feel like and it's something I've worn for the past 5 years. So I feel like conferences, if they would invest in just really good swag. Oh, come to defend Angular. Were we talking smack about it?
Just briefly while you were gone, yeah.
Okay, per usual.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got this semi figured out. Maybe potentially. I think I'm gonna dip
and solve the same problem. But I'll be right back.
All right, bye. I don't understand Chrome why she's doing this to us, but at least StreamYard has this lovely little. I'm gonna move that camera. Okay. A lovely little, hey, if you can't screen share today, then this is what you might want to do. You want to come say hi, baby? Bye, baby. My little toddler, he's leaving. He's heading out the door for school. But he always has to sneak into the pantry and get the dog cookies beforehand. So I see him running around with a dog cookie and I'm like, solid.
It's for the dog though, right? It's not.
Yes.
No. For me.
No,
treat.
He's very good about that. His treats are on one side, and then the pup's treats are over there. He's always chasing the dog around, even when the dog does not want a treat. You would think a dog would always want a treat. It does not.
Infinite. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on this and see if I can get. Oh, there we go. That's beautiful. I always end up inspecting our blogs and deleting sidebars. Because nice. I'm like, I don't need you in my life right now. Yeah. Actually, are we missing headings at that size? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, Carl, I wanted to talk about the very first thing. Whew, my DevTools is larger than life. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about our new and very exciting, I think I actually made a keynote slide. Are you impressed? You should all be impressed. Look at that beautiful Kendoka. First of all, is ocean blue the color that React Kendoka already was, or no? It's a different color.
No, it's a different color, and it's completely. I want to say coincidental that it's. that it's a blue color. But yeah, so ocean blue has nothing to do with the original KendoReact Kendoka coloring. But now that you have it all on the screen like this, it does fit into the whole color schema.
Yeah, I was telling Kathryn before we went live, I was like, somebody loves React in this company. Somebody.
Yeah. So
it's
to
me.
give you,
I'm just bribing everyone.
Yeah.
If you ever get like a really nice bottle of wine or something, just shows up at your house, it was me. I'm trying to get more screen time for React.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are like, what are we talking about? The new color, the new default color for Kendo UI is an ocean blue, which is the background color here. And so now once you update the theme, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, because this didn't happen for me, and that's what I was hoping we could debug together. Your orange goes
it's actually it's one of our swatches. So it's not the default color. It's going to be confusing now because the name of the theme is the default. So it's not the out of the box color that comes with the Kendo UI default theme. It is a swatch. And for those of you that are not familiar with swatches, essentially with the way the Kendo UI themes are set up, they have different colorations that go along with the default theme, the bootstrap theme, and the material theme. And these swatches are essentially hand curated color combinations that our design team and our front-end engineer team have created for you. So it's essentially a way to just, if you prefer the primary color to be a little bit more reddish, maybe we have something that gives you all the colors that you need to kind of connect to that, so you don't have to go out and do your own research around what colors work well together.
Main will still, when you install our components, update our components, main will still be what is the default, but there is a new default option called ocean blue.
Correct.
Woo!
There you go. Yeah. I know the fact it's a good name for a theme because it is the default theme that comes with Kendo UI. Kind of that's our design language. However, I have to be careful with when I use the word default now.
The word default. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like going through my old components. This is my I'm gonna make her a little bit smaller. And I was like, Carl, there's still orange in here. Look, there's orange, Carl. Like, I was like, what?
How dare they?
Yeah, I know. I was like updating my themes package over and over again. Like, it's not working.
Oh.
I really just assumed when I saw that word default. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, cool. We're moving over to blue. Blue is our new color. Everyone loves blue. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
To give you a little bit of insight, by the way, in terms of how we came up with that color. So the big thing, as you mentioned, had highlighted on the slide, is that Blue Ocean is specifically aimed at improving the out-of-the-box accessibility of our components, mainly looking at it from a contrast perspective. So ensuring that all the colors are part of the swatch have the right color contrast to make sure that it passes the WCAG 2.1 requirements for contrast. So we have a lot of other things, of course, baked into the components for accessibility, right? That is a part of the markup. But the design is also something that's important. So because we talk so much about accessibility, we wanted to make sure that we could do whatever we can out of the box for themes as well to help out with that. And the reason blue was selected actually came from 3 people that independently researched the best color for contrast and for something like our components where you have then maybe some darker versions of that color for border or something like that, right? Where they all independently came to the conclusion that the best practice is blue, which is why you see so many design languages and designs out there that use blue colors and have blue as a part of the logo. It's because of the contrast. There's also some other aspects of it, like some emotional aspect of the blue color and how humans react to it that make it one of the better colors. So it was really interesting to find when they came together and had independently found different resources that all pointed them towards essentially the same color blue.
I wasn't shocked when I thought that we were moving like from orange to blue. I was like, yeah, blue usually wins the day. Like she always.
Orange is a really hard color to work with from a design perspective, just like across the board. It's hard to make it accessible. It's hard to make it play nice with other colors. Orange is just a weird little guy, just a strange little dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's orange has been the Kendo UI color for so long that, of course, having it as one of our colors in the default theme makes a lot of sense. But that's why we introduced it as a swatch and not as a brand new theme or anything like that. You have the flexibility to change that color at any time. And handling our swatches, it's fairly easy because essentially all that you need to do is really copy and paste some Sass variables, throw that into your custom Sass file, and then when you compile it, you're off to the races. Or if you just want to use the CSS file and not have to do any customization, we have the ability for you through our theme builder tool to just pick that swatch and export it and get the compiled CSS, and you don't even have to worry about variables or anything like that.
Nice. That's awesome. I think the other thing that was highlighted for everybody was the dark mode, which I can actually.
Yes. All of our docs and demos have dark mode.
Trolling. This is another one where I was like, yes, everyone loves dark mode. I don't know. Are you both dark mode people? You can be honest.
Yeah.
It's a safe space. Yeah.
Yes. The first thing I did, so this is a fairly new laptop. When I realized that Mac OS now has a dark mode toggle, I was like, turn on, please.
That is
now makes my face so dark when I have to have so many lights just to light up my face.
That is the downside.
Yeah, but that's just when the camera's on. Otherwise, I switched over to dark mode in our docs the second I could. I really liked it.
Wow. I mean, it's beautiful, but I don't think I could do it. You all are in though. You're all in. I love orange. Hey, Mike. We got some orange promotion here. Again, that's a hard one to sell.
I love the color orange. Don't get me wrong, and I would love to have that be the primary color across the board. But like Kathryn mentioned, right? It's tougher with, especially with accessibility. Once you go into the contrasting, essentially, and if you need to make anything darker, it just kind of turns brown, and brown isn't necessarily a pleasant color. Yeah.
If you were curious about why, there's actually some cool science about like why that works out the way it does. And that is that orange is really close to red, right? And when we're looking at contrast, we're looking at just the value, which is the lightness or darkness of the color itself. And you're looking at the contrast between those things. And so red, like pure red, is exactly in the middle. It's like 50% on the like black-white scale. So when you grayscale red, you get like, again, like a perfect middle of the road gray. Wow. And so red and orange are both bad in terms of accessibility because it's hard to get a big value change from exactly the middle of the road, right? If you're like really light and then you contrast with something really dark, then you get the contrast ratio that you need for good accessibility. But with these colors that hang out right in the middle of the spectrum, it's hard to go far enough in either direction to get the contrast ratio that you need. So
wow.
Art school, baby. Yeah. In case you were ever curious.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I just learned something, and I'm going to use that tidbit about red and orange being right in the middle on the color scale. I'm gonna use that at parties.
I'm sorry.
Right in the middle of the color.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be a hit. You'll see, Kathryn.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean that sarcastically. This is the type of stuff that I'm like, all right, one drink in me. I'm like, hey, do you want to know why red is right in the middle?
I got into it. We went, quick story, and then I promise you can have it back. We went.
No, do it.
Last
I'm debugging this while you do that.
We did like a bar trivia thing, and there was a question in the trivia night about the movable type system. It was like, where was the movable type introduced? Okay. They were claiming that the answer was Germany, which is understandable because that is where the Gutenberg press was invented, a movable metal type. But movable type, just like movable characters, actually started in China with like wood and clay type that they moved around and ultimately decided it wasn't the right fit because the Chinese language has so many more characters and there's so many more like intricacies. They tried it out and were like, actually woodblock carving is working just as well for us. So it's a no from us, dog. And way like hundreds of years later, it worked. They tried it again in Germany. It worked much better because the language is much more, the alphabet is much more condensed. But I like, they had the wrong answer and we had to like have a thing about it. And I was and maybe had a beer or two. It was like,
That's so funny.
No.
Were you like, you were in correcting mode, right? Like you were like, wait.
I was.
That is funny.
I did get a free t-shirt.
Hey, there you go.
Did? Oh my
I
gosh,
did.
yes. All right, you guys,
So-
am I doing this the right way? Should I have to give each of these? The list box is a new Angular component, and I slapped her in as any good person would. And now I'm like, did I do the styles wrong? I didn't. I don't know. Maybe. So my sidebar, she's a special beast of her own, right? If we go full screen. Close, please. I shank you, and I refresh the page. You'll see that she's like, actually, whoa, I'm too zoomed in. She's actually a sidebar that's over here, right? And like whenever we get to a certain width, she pops down to her own row nicely. So that's what we're looking at. So if you're ever like, why is my Kendo component doing that? It's probably because you're inside my sidebar is the real answer. But anyways, I want to show off the list box. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not familiar with the list box. What
I know.
does she do?
So it's like two lists, and you can actually move items between them and even reorder inside of them. But you do it with, it's not like a drag and droppy thing. It's with the, what are these, toggles, components, buttons?
Yeah, the toolbar in the middle.
Call
Toolbar.
them buttons.
Yeah. I guess it's not technically a toolbar. So I guess the command buttons, I guess, would be the best way to describe that.
Command buttons. I like it. Dump everything over here. And again, you're like, why does it look like that? It's because of my sidebar. So I was just going to try to style them real quick. This is my gorgeous application where we put it in. Let's see, Kendo ListBox. I'm thinking we could go all .NET-y and just do inline styles. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. It's okay. I know. I'm sure I made both of you flinch.
I really was trying to keep a straight face. I was like, not on stream, Kathryn, not on stream. We can't have another.
Don't make it
We
big.
can't have another fight.
We can't. It's
I
too
can't.
soon. It's too soon.
I just talked
Oh,
about
God.
correcting the judge at trivia. I can't jump into it again and do the same thing.
And now that just becomes your personality.
It's just I'm just becoming the
Oh.
actually guy.
All right, let's do this. Kendo. Let's see here. ListBox. I think. Wait.
Oh, yeah,
is that
you're
it?
going
Did I
all
do it
out
right?
here.
Hang on. Did I do it right? I think I did it right. I did it right. All right. So we're gonna say. I think I want to do a width. This could be totally wrong. Of not pixels. View. Let's try it. Let's give it a test. Let us see if that changes anything. Did it refresh? Is it happening? I don't know why it takes like a bajillion years to refresh. All right, let's see what I did wrong. I'm inside the sidebar, so the selector should be proper. She should be proper. Let's see.
Solid question in the chat, which is,
Tell
what
us
are
things.
you fixing? What are you doing? What are you working?
Oh,
what is
right.
it supposed to, what do you want it to look like?
I was hoping they could be like, okay, let's go back to this one. Look at this. Look at this gorgeousness. It spans the whole width of the page. You can
Okay,
see
width
all
issue.
of your buttons, right? I
Mhm,
guess we could
mhm.
just view what they did to their styles. Cheating. Okay, they did a height and width on the list box, and then in type margin right for one, which would be this. Wait, go back. Wouldn't it be this one? Is this what they're talking to? 0, 1, 2, I'm assuming.
I didn't see the style. Go back.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. about.
Kendo list box and type of 1. So is that selecting the? Hang on.
Type.
I think that's selecting the child inside of Kendo list box. Wait, is that so? Is that selecting the first?
I thought that was selecting the first like column,
Yeah.
but I don't actually know how this is structured because we
I
didn't
think-
there's
oh,
not a
it did
list
not
box in
want that.
React. Spoiler alert. We got different components in this release. So-
Yes, we know. Everyone loves React. Let us get on with it. I'm gonna throw this in. Actually, I don't think my styles are being applied at all.
There must be something that's cascading down. I wonder if there's something.
You wanna know what it
because
is?
Your sidebar is taking up 50%. I wonder if that's cascading down.
Oh, I have the encapsulation off. What the flip? You think that sidebar is my aside, my low guy, this guy?
I was just
What?
curious. It's just my guess, knowing absolutely nothing about your code, is that if you have a parent thing that's saying like take up 50%, because your list box is also taking up about 50% of your side
About
column. So I wondered
50%,
if there was something there.
I like it.
Just
I like it. Let's go turn that off. Let's see.
It's just a
Sidebar.
fun-
Oh yeah, it's there. It's just being overridden. Ha ha ha. Love it. That makes me feel so much better. I'm like, it is there. It's just being overridden by ListBox has a width and a height. But I do wonder if you're right, if it's listening to the asides. Anyways, we do not have to debug all day. We're going to go and grab a different one. And then if we have time, I'm going to keep debugging. But I'm actually going to, real quick, to test her theory. Is there a width here? Did you say there was a width on this? Oh, wait, that's the sidebar. Where's my aside?
Yeah, but you've got that flex. I wonder what happens if you turn. I wonder if the flex is.
Width, okay, God. Let me go back to these. You're talking about this one? This one?
Yeah, maybe.
And by the way, hot tip from I think we got some of our lovely developers helping us out in the chat here.
Oh my God!
The nth of type just targets the first list box. So that's
what I thought.
That's all about. Yeah.
Oh, I feel so validated.
Yeah, it feels good.
But when we say list box, we're talking about this.
Yeah.
This.
Yes. So one of those elements is a list box, and what you've done, what we've done in the demo, and what you've done in the sample application, the Tour Ponies, is combine two list boxes. You can actually combine as many list boxes as you want to, and then have the toolbars in between them and interact with them. It really depends on your user requirements. But that's the cool thing about this, is that technically you could just have a list box that is just a box, a single one with a list in it. These tools are only really useful when you have multiple ones strung together, whether it's two or more.
No, but I could see with one if you were doing like rankings or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's still useful to move it up and down, and you can rearrange that, of course. And that's generally when it's a single list. That's usually what we see folks use the list box for. Sometimes it might be like a scrollable area that you might want to have a lot of items in with the fixed height and width, and then a little bit of a template for each item. We've seen that happen as well.
The toolbars are really nice touch, because these are traditionally very inaccessible components, because they are reliant on like dragging or dropping, or like some kind of something that you need to be able to kind of see and interact with in a way that is hard to do keyboard only.
Yeah, there's so many even devices, that it's like, I can't do that. Yeah. So this it seems silly, but when you start developing for like, okay, this really does have to work everywhere, and then I'm like, oh, that's why they did that.
Yeah. And the list box is like an ancient UI element. I mean, this is I think we
It is?
Well, not this specific implementation of it, but the concept of these list boxes and like the design like that. I think they've been available, VB, back in the day. I remember having list boxes in the drag and drop interface, right? So I think there is some inherent, like, this is the way list boxes have behaved for decades. But I think there's some power in that, because of the UI elements in the middle. They do help a lot, especially with accessibility and keyboard navigation, so that it's easy to hear the buttons and what they do, and you can select the proper one.
I am going to start this so that we can work. Yeah, yesterday I was having NPM issues. So I just made a brand new Angular app and was like, I will steal your package, JSON. You guys ever do that? You're like, we're gonna start over.
That's all I do.
I was very close to that yesterday. I ended up it ended up not being a whole thing, but at first I was like, do I want to update my app to React 18, or do I want to just use the new CRA templates to just roll up a fresh app in React 18? I did update, and it was fine. It was actually way less trouble than I thought, so I'm glad I just stuck with it.
Oh, I'm so glad.
At first, and it was very tempting to just be like, what if we destroy everything? So fresh. Couple months old now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think February.
That feels right.
So not yesterday. Not yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's that at least, right?
Time that could, if it was a baby, you'd measure it in weeks still. You'd be like, this is my 6-week-old infant or something.
I was worried we run into this. There's just some weird business here. Who is Angular Lion? Who? See, I don't know. Is that say Lion? Am I reading that wrong?
I can't. It's so small. I cannot read it.
I will make it bigger than anyone ever asked. Are you ready?
And yeah, I don't know if you do this about red and pink, but they're really close to this. the contrast is really hard.
Kathryn, I don't know if you know this, but I've kind of got a pony-themed life going. You can't just come in.
Oh, I got a pink terminal too. I did. So my terminal is also pink. I just use the background color. Change the
This
background
is what I wrestled with all day yesterday, Carl. It was so bizarre. I ended up resetting my what do you call it? My package JSON, like I said. And then I was able to install.
Someone's got the answer for you.
Oh yes, tell me. I can't see the chat, so you're gonna have to.
It says, Alyssa, this is because your npm version is above 6.9.0 or something. You need to do the following: npm install legacy peer dependencies. Deps.
Okay, I'm gonna go look because I want to see. I saw this. This actually was suggesting force or legacy peer. Of course, I was leaning towards force because that just sounds more like me. But yes,
just strong arm your way through it.
General.
We'll do what I say.
Oh my god,
Sudo
you're so
update.
brilliant. NPM version 6.9. You need to do the following: npm install legacy peer dependencies. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it real quick. Npm install. I'm just gonna do the I because I can't spell apparently. Legacy. Oh god. Do I have to spell out the word dependencies? No, thank you.
Just deps. I just said dependencies so that it made sense on stream.
Oh my gosh, do you think it's gonna work now? Oh my word. Do we have a gift basket ready?
I'm sure we've got like a box of t-shirts somewhere.
Lots of fruit, Kathryn. We need to be mailing fruit. No, my friend, she likes to do this all like carnivore diet, and I'm like, she makes fun of me because I tried so hard to do it with her, and I was like, I need salad.
Is it like a keto thing?
It's an extreme keto thing, like literally only meat, like not other things that are allowed when you're in ketosis. And I'm like, I just need salad. I need lettuce in my life. Okay,
paleo.
Yeah. I did the thing, and I'm wondering, are you guys on? Do you mind? Is that too personal of a question? What's your npm version?
What is my npm version?
I had no idea what you were asking.
I could switch to an older one, right? What am I using?
I'm on 8.9.
You're on 8.9? You are?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? What is NVM list? What's the command? Too big of text.
I went like 6.14.
See, what happens is I run an npm install command, and then npm is like, "Hey, we have a new version. Run this command." I'm like, "Sure, npm. I'll do it."
I have become so skilled at ignoring that. Like,
so skilled.
My Chrome needed an update until I just had to force restart it to share my screen on this very stream. I'm constantly getting dogged for that when I stream. Someone's like, please hit the update button. Like, valid. And also, no, I will not.
No, I will not. I'm going to stop this because I'm wondering if, I don't think running it actually could. Yeah, failed to compile. There we go. Hammer.js. Who are you? Why are you? Okay. I'm going to rerun that. Let's go back over here. So let's talk about some of these because I'm going to kind of debug on the side and we can just work our way through this. We've got a map, but it's in beta. Mm-hmm. Carl, I saw a couple of our new components have the beta tag.
Yeah.
What do people need to think/know about the beta tag when they see it?
Yeah, so the beta tag is essentially that we have a set of requirements that we feel that we need for version 1 of a component, and part of that, some highlights, of course, include like features, but then also things like accessibility, keyboard navigation, etc., need to be baked in before we kind of consider it V1. So the beta tags really are us getting a version of the components out there that have some base level requirements that we think folks might want to take advantage of. There might not be everybody that's looking for the map component, or we also have the PivotGrid with this release, which happens to have a beta tag next to it. However, for the folks that do need the features that we have, they should feel confident enough to be able to at least add it into their application, try it out, and then also, of course, provide us feedback along the way. So we mark it as beta just to let people know that, of course, this isn't the final version. We have more features that we want to add, but we would love to hear what people have to say to make sure that we're adding the right features in the right order.
I love it. I love it. So the map, the pivot grid, is there anything else that is new and in beta? I want to look.
New and in beta? No, those should be the
right?
two components are in beta right now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. This map is like, like I'm a little worried about sticking her in my sidebar, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
My husband's like, yeah, like, why did you decide that all Kendo UI components need about like 200 pixels worth of width? And I'm like, that's just what I decided. Okay. Like, that's what they need. Like, and so now every Kendo UI developer is like shaking their head at me. Like, why are you like, I'm just like, get into the
It's a great way to test how it looks on mobile.
You got to try it out. You got to try it out. This is, we have on live stream put a Gantt chart component into an app bar, like the top navigation of an application. So, that's what these streams are for, right? Just seeing how we can break our components. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think the only one that gave me guff so far. Guff. Yeah. The only component that was like, absolutely not. I refuse to fit in that. Was the Gantt. She was very unhappy.
The Gantt
like
fits.
She does it, but she's all like, not really. Like, she's the only one.
You just gotta do a lot of side scrolling.
Yeah. Elbows out. Yeah, because there's so many elements that are part of a Gantt component, right? If I were to say, oh, we have a Gantt component and we need to be able to render that on a mobile device, I feel like for mobile, you inject something else. You inject something where you can maybe click on an item and then dive a little bit deeper for details, as opposed to that Gantt interface, because the Gantt really thrives when you can say, oh, this is the hierarchy of items, and then this is, the tasks they're related to, and this is the span. So you can compare, contrast, and also see what needs to be done first or parallel, whatever it might be. And you're not going to be able to get that on a mobile device unless it's an iPad. But is a big enough iPad really a mobile device? So it really depends on.
I know. I've seen people on planes where I'm like, good Lord. Like, like they get their, it's like little TV out of their bag.
Yeah.
What is the difference between like a pivot grid, a normal grid, or maybe even, I don't know if Gantt really belongs in that comparison, but I'm trying to like piece together.
I think probably what you can compare to, you have the grid, you have the pivot grid, and then maybe you can throw in the spreadsheet in there. And the reason they throw in the spreadsheet is because a lot of people's first introduction to a pivot grid, except for if they're a developer and their customer says we need a pivot grid, is through using Excel and then pivoting the data in Excel. So that's why I threw in the spreadsheet. But the reason, what we try to do with a lot of our components is, even though they're pretty advanced, like the grid is an advanced component with a lot of different features and functionality, we try to have some sort of, a specialization of the components at the same time, which is why you see, for example, the grid and then the tree list. They offer very similar functionality at a surface level, but then when you understand that the tree list is hierarchical data that is homogeneous, so it's the same, just tossing out all my $10 words here today.
Yeah, very nice SAT word there.
So when you have, they all have the same fields, right? That's what that means. So when you expand and collapse items, you want the columns to align. That is a separate user experience, and because the underlying data tends to be a different structure than you might have in a grid, we decided to separate that out so that we can do some features that are very specific to the hierarchical view. So it's the same thing now with the pivot grid. It's been separated out for when you need pivoting so that we can provide more functionality specifically around that pivot functionality that you wouldn't necessarily need to have in a grid or in a tree list. And that allows us to, not have this like monolith of a UI component that does everything. And then B, as I have been mentioning, right, if there are some features that are just so very exclusive to to that component, we can develop that without thinking, oh, then how does this affect, if you enable this feature but you're only viewing it as a standard data table, what would that look like? It kind of avoids a lot of that confusion and avoids having features that you can't enable if you don't have pivoting, for example. So that's why we separated it out. So the pivot grid, really the big thing there is when you need to pivot data. And if you're like, oh, what does that mean? That's a great question. I'm not good at understanding pivot grids, so I'm not the best person there. But for anybody that needs a pivot grid, they definitely know what pivoting is.
I was gonna say, I feel like if you have to ask what pivoting is, the answer is you can just use the regular grid. You don't need the pivot grid. Right.
Yeah. and unless we see so a user requirement is like, we need a pivot grid, and then just follow the user requirements, enable the features in our component, and then be like, all right, there we go. But yeah, so pivoting, usually the data is a little bit more complex as well, which is why we need to have like some separate kind of binding set up specifically for the pivot grid.
Makes sense. I'm going to jump in real quick because we got a question over on YouTube that I want to highlight that is about Angular, so I'm not going to answer it. Brian says, hi, do you have Angular with admin boilerplate? I can see that there's admin boilerplate for other platforms, but not in Angular.
What does that even mean? Is that like with like an admin dashboard like template that you can like fork and run with? Is that what that means?
I think that's what they're looking for. Yes.
Carl, I heard Dan talking about this exact thing. Do we have this?
So we have, it depends on what kind of admin dashboard that you need. So we do have a couple of different sample apps that are dashboard like. So we have a stocks portfolio, and then we have a crypto based application, which, RIP, the crypto market, right? It was nice knowing
I didn't mean to laugh. It was completely...
Wait, did something bad happen to crypto? What happened?
Oh, it's just everything's down. Everything's down. This, we'll shield our users from the panic of losing all their life savings. But so that was a poorly timed joke, if anything.
It really kind of was.
But those two samples, and I'm bringing them up right now, which is why.
Are you talking about these demos, or is it a different demos that I should not be pulling this demos? I think
these are the sample applications that we list at the top of the Angular documentation specifically.
Angular documentation. Yeah. Hang on, we will find it together. It will be beautiful.
I need to find the window.
You want me to do this drop down, and then you said. Wait, no, not that drop down.
We got that one. And I'm posting a couple of links in the chat so that we can see something.
So I can actually clicky on it because I cannot clicky on it.
That's the one. So these are a little bit more dashboard like where you have the app bars at the top. You have your little like separate views with admin dashboards can mean a lot of things, but generally you see this little kind of tile structure layout, etc. Now, is it the same as, for example, going out to a place like Creative Tim and downloading one of their templates? Not necessarily, but it still gives you, gets you part of the way there, and is a full blown application, generally set up with the front end services and everything, so you can wire up your own data.
Ooh.
Also, for the crypto vault, this is don't do any trading based on this application. I always need to joke about that just to be safe. So yeah, this is yes, there is some real data here, but it's not being updated absolutely live. As you can see,
you're telling me that's not your real balance.
Bitcoin is not at 48. What was that?
I said, you're telling me that's not your real balance.
Yes.
The $400,000.
Yeah. First of all, it's not my balance, and second of all, Bitcoin is not at 48K right now. So yeah, I always want to throw that out there because somebody joked internally. They were like, "Wait, is that really the price of this coin?" I was like, "No."
No.
You're like, please do not go trade right now.
Yeah. I see them just open up, they're trading.
Add like a big banner
invest.
Across the top.
We should. Woo! We can make it marquee style.
No, it's a beautiful application. Let's not make it too pretty.
It is a beautiful. Yeah, no, not too much sparkle.
Yeah.
Put a minus in front of the balance.
Rough.
Oh god.
That's what I said. We want to shield people from that depressing fact. Yeah.
It's rough out there right now.
Somebody had, so that, where was it, Carl? Like, how do I'm in the docs.
Yes.
And then we go up to.
Yeah, if you click on the just demos again at the top navigation bar.
Demos.
Yeah, these will be you see those Angular sample applications listed there underneath the top most popular components. Those are the samples.
I see.
Many of them highlight the grid because every admin dashboard needs a data grid of some kind. We do have a lot of charts thrown in as well, and we're essentially a lot of these samples come from either chatting with our customers directly, asking them what kind of demo applications do you want to see, or honestly, sometimes we see a lot of questions pop up. How do I do XYZ with the components through our support ticketing system? And then we'll gather some of that and figure out how we can create a sample application that's a little bit more full blown than just an individual component, plus some features enabled. So we have various different ways of creating these, but always on the lookout for more. So if you have any suggestions, if these don't satisfy your requirements and there's some other type of admin boilerplate you would prefer to use, let us know, and we'll certainly add that to the backlog and see when we can introduce it.
Nice. Very cool. I love it. Maybe I should implement some pony. I feel like the ponies need to get into stock. I think that's what needs to happen next. Pony stock trading, some sort.
Yeah. They'll have their own run of crypto and NFTs.
I was just about to say, I'm sure there's some kind of like pony coin you could get.
Yeah. Would NFTs in the pony world just be pictures of humans?
Oh yes, obviously.
These are the type of questions that keep me up at night.
They keep me up at night.
Yep. Thanks. That's gonna haunt me.
I'm gonna pass off soon to Kathryn, and then I'm gonna keep debugging. Apologies. Apparently, it has something to do with my NPM version. I don't make up the node version rules. I just run into them. I love you all. It was not my intention for you to stare at error, but it's fine. So. But also, Kathryn did mention it earlier. We will be doing a webinar next week. Super pumped for it. And we'll be going into more detail on just what each one of these new, you can see actually in our sidebar underneath Kendo UI for Angular. Let me see if I can blow this up to be ridiculously large. You can see which ones have been updated, which ones are new. And as Carl and I were talking about earlier, which ones are in beta, but still like this map able to download and use right now. So yes, there's the shine up.
I went to share the webinar thing and it's so tall it just completely covers Carl.
Does it?
It feels very much like the like the Monsters Inc. thing where he's always like behind the sticker, like just out of sight.
Oh,
that was me sharing the Nightbot. Just
beautiful. Oh my goodness. But I do promise. I promise I will have NPM bugs figured out by then. I don't know. I'm not really sure. If any of you are like NPM gurus and want to hang out afterwards, I mean,
I don't believe if you say you're an NPM guru, I don't believe you. I'm sorry.
I don't believe you. Well, come on now. I have to believe they exist.
Yeah, they must exist. Just like one time I complained about some frustrations of Webpack. This was years ago. And then out of the woodwork, a bunch of people that were really solid experts in Webpack pinged me on Twitter and helped me solve it. Like they DM'd me. That was one of the times that I was like, I'm about to cry because the Webpack is so cruel. And then it got fixed because there are experts out there that helped.
I did see a great post that was like the fastest way to get the answer to any tech question you have is to post a question and then come in with another username and post the wrong answer so that you can get corrected. I thought that was clever as hell.
Because it like triggers people. So they have to like, if they know the answer, go in and be like, no, it's like
that guy's wrong.
Night. Yeah, it was like a trivia night when they
it brings out something in us. I don't know what to tell you.
I think I read it as somebody said that like their pro tip is like on Reddit, Stack Overflow or anything, they have two accounts. One is the account that asked the question, and then they immediately post an answer under their second account with the wrong answer because they know like their success rate is almost like 100% or something to get their question answered, as opposed to when they just ask a question, then it's like much lower.
Wow, that is so funny. People's brains, man. I would just be like out there like help, like that's funny.
I think that, I thought it was clever. And my
very
hot take
clever.
is, I bet if you go in with any kind of female sounding username, you get corrected twice as fast. Super efficiency, maxing it out. You can really stack the deck.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make Katie knows dev like right now, like, and that'll be who I go in as. Like,
it's like a really like cutesy picture. You can get like that. You'll have the answer you need.
I know we complain about it, but I'm watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel right now, and things have gotten better. Let me just say, for gender equality, things have gotten better. Okay, like
yes,
it's not a solved problem.
Have you seen it? But I love Maisel. Yeah,
it's a good show.
One of my favorite shows.
Can't wait for it to come back.
Oh wait, you're current. I just started season 1, so I'm.
Oh okay.
Oh yeah, we got it.
Oh god, you guys are way ahead. Okay.
Yeah, season 4
everything that happens
like earlier this year. So
I want to share the link to this before I pass off. Because Carl wrote this gorgeousness. It should be shared with the world. Really like it. I was really happy with it. I'm going to put it in here. YouTube does not support. Okay, if you're on the tubes, listen. You just have to type it.
That has got all the information you need and then some.
Maybe it's in the description. I don't know. If you're on the tubes, you must type. Actually, I think everybody has to type it. It's not like if you're on Twitch, you can click this, but I guess you can copy it from chat.
If you go to blogs.telereact.com as well, it's so fresh this week that they will
everywhere.
Be. Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah, you'll find it.
Yeah. I think if you go anywhere on any TeleReact site, you'll get the banner along the top. That's like, it's release week. Click here.
The banner. You guys are so smart. I'm literally like over here, like, make sure it says R2, like, because
no,
it's fine.
Just go to like whatever, KendoReact.com.
Yeah, we tried to make sure that people are aware of it as much as possible.
Carl, I know you have to go soon. Is there anything either about, because I know I covered some Angular things, but we also are going to go into React, but then we also have other updates outside of those 2 frameworks. Is there anything you wanted to highlight or say, or maybe you have a favorite update that you're
play favorites?
Yeah, play favorites. You're gonna love this then. My favorite updates are the ones that are across the board. So the ocean blue swatch and the dark mode and the document.
I don't know.
You can't get me. Yeah.
Don't worry, chat. Whenever I have him alone in a corner, I'll corner him. I'll be like, hey, what's really your favorite? And then I'll share with you. I'll find out.
No, but
and we both find out that when we ask that question, you and I get different answers.
That's I've been watching.
He's like talking to me Angular, of course. Yeah.
And we jump in a call. He's like, React. It's definitely React.
I've been watching a lot of Survivor, and I know that I can't do that because you two will talk. So I know how people operate.
The real answer is jQuery.
Yeah, my true answer to any question is the jQuery features are my favorite. But joking aside, really the ocean blue swatch is definitely at the top, because I love whenever we can introduce something that is just one configuration option, or in this case one swatch change that will immediately have a boost to your accessibility. There's still, of course, a lot of other things with accessibility that you need to think about. But I do really enjoy that we're able to provide that to our customers where that's a requirement. And then the dark mode, I personally like that because I just really like the design and it's easier on the eyes. Although my face is a little bit bluer because I have that open, and then also the background for the stream. But either way, those are my true favorites for the release this time.
Oh, well, awesome. Thank you. And we'll be on the webinars. I was like, what's the noun I'm looking for next week? But I know Carl has to run and prep for a flight. So safe travels, my friend.
That's right. Thank you so much. And Kathryn, I know you can represent the React bits for the next hour here. So
I'm here to heckle. Yeah. I'm here to heckle. It's totally fine. At least Kathryn is on the right Node version. So
who knows? Who knows?
For now. Yeah.
All right, folks. I'll take off. Bye for now, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye. All right. So,
React.
Kathryn, if you know what's wrong with my NPM, you can go ahead and say it, and I'll
not.
go. Okay, cool. All right.
No.
I
will straight up tell you that is probably my least favorite part of being a developer, is wrangling NPM and node versions and dealing with build issues. It is something that I think is suffered through to get to the fun part.
Yeah. So. No, I was like 4 hours into just digging through this yesterday, and I was like, I finally got the ng add command to work for one of the components, and I was like, beautiful, but it's not. We didn't even get an Angular update like between now and the last release. I'm like, how do you all just break? Like, it's got to be something with my node. But I'm right there with you, where I was like on my back porch, and I was like 4 hours in, and I look up and I was like, this is just not fun. Like, this is like, I'm literally just like, try this dependency, try that version. So, well,
you're going down that like Google rabbit hole, and you're on like page 6. Yes.
That's exactly where I'm at. So it's fine. I'm quite sure that chat is right. I think it has something to do with the node version I'm on. I just assumed if I got to the latest, that'd fix everything, and it has not. So
I don't know. I wish I could tell you.
We have quite a few new and updated components. So we're gonna go through them all in the webinar. For Angular bits, but let's talk some about React. Like, did you have any favorites?
Yeah, let's see. So we had a handful of cool things in this React release. I'd say the first one that is maybe like there's not like a cool thing to demo, but we did have a big React release we had React itself had a release between R1 and R2 for us.
No.
So we got React 18, and React updates way less often, frankly, than Angular. So that was kind of a big deal.
What's the frequency?
Yeah. Whenever they feel like it.
Oh, okay.
Because
I'm like you can like down to pretty much the week accurately guess when you're going to get an Angular update. But that's funny. Oh, I assumed they both were the same. Oh.
No, it's been over a year. For sure, since we had React 17. And React 17 was interesting because it was they called it like the no update. So they were basically laying the groundwork for a lot of the stuff that came in this release with React 18. So they were doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and we didn't get a lot of the like new features. We got stuff to support the new features that we got in this version.
God bless you. Yes, I'm going to go do that right now. Sorry, did not mean to interrupt.
No, that's always a solid thing. So just like yeet the node modules and try again.
Yeet the node modules. Oh my God, I love you. Okay.
It's to bring it back to my Star Trek thing. It's the ejecting the warp core of of development. You just like out, gone. But yeah. Anyway, React 18 had some really cool stuff. We are in the process of kind of evaluating where we want to make upgrades to our own components to make use of some of the new stuff in React 18. There's a lot of like concurrency rendering and hydration stuff that came as part of the new React release that would be really cool, especially for some of our components, some of our more complex components especially. So we're kind of feeling that out right now, though. You can go ahead and upgrade. You will not have any issues with Kendo. And if we do choose to make some of our components dependent on React 18, it won't be for a while. You'll get lots of warning. So the takeaway is stay tuned. We're working on integrating some of the cool new React 18 features into our components to make them even faster and even more, I didn't want productive is not the right word. Powerful. I can't come up with a thing I want. Optimized. There's a better word, and it's gone from my head. We're working on it. For now, you can totally update to React 18. In fact, I did. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Add to screen. So yeah,
so
you can see this is
nothing exploded when you did so.
Absolutely not. So yeah, here's my package. You can see I'm up. Yeah, React Router DOM is still, because that's not really, anyway. React and React DOM are up at version 18, even including 18.1, which is the little patch version that just came out. So you can go ahead and update. The only thing you'll need to do, which is not Kendo related at all, is just change the way that React itself hooks in your index, because that has changed a little bit. And that just has to do, that's this stuff. And it's not Kendo related. That just has to do with how you set up a React app before and how you do now. The way that like create root and the root.render hooks into your root ID in your actual like HTML stuff, that has changed a little bit. So you'll need to change your imports here and use this create root instead. And the React 18 docs has a great rundown of how to do that, right? So yeah, so we're not using React.render anymore. We're using create root now. It's cool. All the cool kids are doing it. So that's the only thing you need to change. And otherwise, all your Kendo stuff will work perfectly. You can see this is my
app
demo
is
app.
So pretty. It's so pretty.
It's Alcard.
So every time I see it,
Star
it's
Trek
like
app.
more beautiful. It's so beautiful. I just love it.
But yeah, I was able to go ahead and update, and everything stayed perfectly intact, which was a relief. Wonderful. So that was definitely a big thing. There was a lot of work done. Obviously, you can't see it and you're supposed to not be able to feel it, but our devs did a really good job of making sure that every single component in our 100+ component library would behave perfectly when you choose to update your app.
Always the hiccup. I think it was the last update we did that the Angular release was like, I want to say like a day or two before our release.
Surprise.
Yeah. So it's like you get 2 days, 100 components, go.
Yeah.
And of course there's RCs that you can look at, but it's not really.
But it's different.
It is.
Yeah. No, we were lucky in that regard that we did get a lot of warning on the React 18 drop. There was lots of like, this is coming and check the RC and do whatever. So we saw it coming and we had several weeks before release. So we were able to go through and completely vet everything you can update with confidence. And then, yeah, stay tuned. We will be spending the next couple of kind of quarters release cycles looking at and evaluating how we can best integrate the new React 18 features. So
can we like
hurrah.
Look at your animation real quick before we look at some features?
Oh, this
components. Yes, I just want to see.
This is actually. Oh yeah, no, it's fun because it's actually very lazy because I'm using our carousel component. So I did not animate this myself. Yeah. So let me
that
see.
so much. Oh my gosh, it's such a good idea.
Home page. So yeah, this was one that we got. It's our scroll view is actually the correct name. I called it a carousel, and it is in all intents and purposes, but we call it scroll view.
What is it underneath? Like, is it underneath its own? Yeah, scroll view. I see it now.
Yeah,
it is its own umbrella.
Yeah, so this is actually, I believe we got this in the last release, if I remember correctly. It might have been the one before that. But it's super easy. You just create this little list, little object with all of your items. So here I've borrowed some images from like Tricopedia and like Memory Alpha and stuff. Of various Star Trek imagery, and then it's just as simple. Here's my scroll view guy.
I was gonna say, did you configure it though to like? Yeah, so you said endless, and then
so there were a couple things like you can turn the arrows on and off.
Okay.
Pageable. We can jump back over here.
I love it. I see how you.
And that'll toggle these little buttons, so it can be a more interactive gallery. I turned them off because I just wanted the like rotation of images. But yeah, so this is actually one of ours, and it's a nice way to add a little bit of motion, a little bit of animation to your app without actually having to do any of that yourself. I enjoy working on animation work, but also it was nice to just kind of like scoot.
Sorry, did not mean to derail you, but I love that. I'm gonna steal that idea. I love it. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the React release side, we had 2 major components that we added. So we get the map as well. So you can see that over here. I've stuck it in
The closest Starfleet base. I love that.
So this place, Marin County in California, is actually canonically where Starfleet Academy will be. So just a little FYI, a little Easter egg. But this hooks into, you can do whatever. I've hooked it into OpenStreetMap, which is a really great kind of open source, free to use mapping program. So this
can you show us where you hooked OpenStreetMap into the KendoReact map?
Absolutely. I was like, I had all of this open. So it's just looking for excuse me, it's looking for coordinates. There we go. Jesus. And it's already making use of it. I think it's just built in. I don't think I had to do anything. Oh no, here. OpenStreetMap.org.
You have to give the URL. Okay, I see.
And then the attribution is down here. So you could, if you wanted to, try and hook other things in. But this is,
oh my gosh, I have to go and find if there's like a pony map, of like the Equestria.
So yeah, and then you can lay on.
I love that. That's so cool.
You can add on whatever layers you want. So like I put this little map point on mine.
I feel like you need, there's got to be, because Star Trek is so much, I feel like so much bigger than My Little Ponies. There's got to be like an open map API for like, the Star Trek universe, or maybe even just stars that you can like zoom in and out on. Like,
I do have some stars down here.
Oh my God, let me see. I'm so excited.
I keep getting stuck trying to scroll in the map.
Just scroll. Yeah. I was doing that earlier on the docs. I was like, stop it, Alyssa. Stop it.
There's maybe I've got something wrong with my, try that. Something's up with my CSS. I broke it. Did. Max height is probably what I don't want. But it should overflow scroll and it's not. There we go. So I did throw some stars in here.
Oh my gosh. What is that? Like what did you hook into for that?
This one is not whatever. I think it's just a div and I hooked in it's like an iframe I think that I threw in there. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. This is just scrolled too much. This is just an iframe that I used from Virtual Sky.
Oh, okay.
But I was using it to show off our popover component.
I'm like super curious now if I can just slap in a Virtual Sky URL. I'm gonna go open up I'm gonna open up a Stack Blitz and find out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not hard at all. So yeah, so there's a lot of fun stuff you can do. The map, though, obviously, completely zoom in, zoom out as close as you want. And all of that's hooked in. You can find wherever here in Open Sky. So like, let's look for Boston, right? That's Progress HQ.
It's also where DevReach is going to be.
Yeah.
We're hosting a conference later this fall, and tickets aren't on sale yet. But let me tell you, the lineup is fire, and you're going to want to be there.
So good.
And also, you get to hang out with me and Kathryn. So, like,
duh.
Hi. So you grab the Boston coordinates, and you're going to
you grab the Boston coordinates, and then you can update, right? That's the marker. You want to update the center because that will update the positioning of the map. And then, as you can see, I've jumped back here and I've got Boston.
Is it like weird that the map already matches your UI colors? Like, is that weird? Are you weirded out?
That was just luck. That was just.
I'm like, wow, you should leave it centered there. That's sexy. Like,
yeah. I did nothing. That's just how the map looks. But yes,
great. Okay, yeah. No, we're gonna say that it was you all along.
I customized
you planned it.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you did, I need to know how right now. Okay, cool.
But no, it makes it really easy, and then you can update your markers. So like,
Oh my gosh, yes!
There we go. See, you can see my little
If
dot.
you zoom in, does the marker get bigger?
I'm zooming too much.
I know. I sometimes get stuck on maps, like, and I'm like really zoomed in, like at grass level, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, my scroll sensitivity is too high to do this.
I wonder if you can. I'm curious if there's a.
Should do it with the buttons. That would be smarter.
Events. Hang on. I'm gonna see if there's a way to like disable scroll. I don't know. Maybe that would be bad. But like I was just thinking for certain devices, you might want like, especially if they're trying to scroll down the page. Yeah. Because we have the zoom in, zoom out buttons, but maybe that's a bad idea.
Right.
Let's see.
So zoom in as close as possible.
Ooh, map layers. Tile layer, shape layer, bubble map layer.
What the heck you can kind of draw on top of it. I didn't in this one.
Oh my gosh, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Right. So you can see here, they've drawn a little like section to delineate a specific part. I think they actually, I was going to see where theirs was in Texas somewhere. So you can add as many like layers and markers and shapes on top of the map as you want to kind of customize and call things out and whatever, which is super helpful. So if you were trying to be like, our storefront is here, or the scavenger hunt will take place within these boundaries, or this is the route of the 5K, or whatever, like all totally doable with map layers, and you can add, I'm pretty sure, as many as you like. So
is this one is that tile layer? I'm trying to see which one that specific one is. No, shape layer.
Yeah, you can do a couple. That would be a shape layer.
Look at this one. What the heck are we looking at right there with shape layer? What are we looking at? Like, what happened? The shape layer displays vector maps encoded in the industry standard GeoJSON format. Do you know what GeoJSON format is? Because I am not familiar with that.
I do not. So yeah, that just allows you to kind of customize colors and create like vector imagery. The tile layer is what adds like the actual right. So if you were going to display maps from places such as OpenStreetMap, the place that has given us permission, hypothetically, you could hook to other maps that shall not be named. And then these are the marker layers that we talked about earlier, where you can add call outs and shapes and sections. And yeah. So
I think Bubble's still my favorite. I'm going to figure out something to do with Bubble for the webinar. It's just so cute. Oh,
see, I didn't think cute at all. It felt to me very like all the like coronavirus like hotspot maps, and I was like, I had a very visceral reaction to Bubble.
Oh no! Where I'm just like, look at those cute bubbles. We got to do something fun with those. Okay, yeah, I can see.
It is cute. Like it makes total sense. But I like look at it. I had a small flashback. I was like, what? So.
I think we just need to override it with good memories, right? Like this, I think I'll do it based on like ice cream stores per city, and then
that would be much more pleasant.
Be like, yes, obviously, we are all in the wrong city.
100%. Absolutely.
Oh, can you go into the source on the bubble? Yeah, on that guy. I want to see real quick. So I'm assuming it's similar to like the map marker as far as configuration on adding that bubble layer in. Let's see, map bubble. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's an actual element, like
right. And then you can customize like your fill or your stroke or how the bubbles themselves look over there. And then it's pulling from this JSON document that's actually providing the overlay data and the coordinates per each bubble.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it's a very neat component. It's one of those, it's still in beta, and I think a lot of that has to do with some of the accessibility concerns, as Carl mentioned before, that we're still kind of figuring out.
Honestly, I feel like I was surprised he didn't say that, and I didn't know if he was trying not to say that, but I feel like
sorry.
No, I don't know. I just feel like anytime we're in beta and then we go out of beta, it's because we have finalized the accessibility round and made sure that we have hit all of those points that we know we need to hit. Because of course, accessibility is never ending and always growing, but we do have a checklist. And I feel like oftentimes they get the component ready and they want to share it as soon as they have it, but we're still working on accessibility. And so I mean, I can only imagine with a map, the
right. When it gives
like
us a way to kind of see how people are actually using it. Because I think that's another thing, is that like a lot of times we will have an idea for a component, or we'll get a request for a component from someone specifically. And we might have like 1 or 2 user stories in mind where it's like, okay, we can see someone using a map in this way, or this way. And then maybe we can kind of brainstorm and come up with some ways that we think people might use the map. We don't really know yet, you know?
Mm.
And so putting something out as beta gives us a chance to hear a little bit more about actual use cases, about ways that it's meeting or not meeting user expectation or demand, features that they wish that it had, accessibility bumps in the road. Like, and I think some components are just a little bit more straightforward than others. Like, you have a pretty good idea of how like everyone's going to use a button. No. There's not a lot of like, what are they going to do with this button?
Okay, like, although I will throw it out there. People have done some weird stuff with a button, Kathryn.
You're not supposed to. That's not accessible.
I know. I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, have you ever like inspected an element and like, and you're like, oh, they used.
You're like, oh God, it's 5 spans in a trench coat. Yeah, like, absolutely.
So. Oh God. Okay, but no, so you've got map and beta. Is she your only beta component?
She is, because we only have 2 components. We get map in beta, and then the other one, which is not in beta, is our TaskBoard, which is a really fun component. So it is
fun.
Yeah. I'll show you over here. Oh wait, it's not there. It is schedule. I couldn't remember where I put my own stuff. So yeah, it's kind of your Jira or Trello style task board.
I love it so much. Yay.
It's super handy. And I'll tell you, I live out of these personally. I'm a heavy Notion user. And I love the task board. It's how I organize my to-dos and keep my whole entire life together. So the fact that we have one in Kendo now, I think is really great.
So we don't have this in Angular. We have the map, but we don't have this. And so that means, I mean, we follow.
Probably get it next release.
Right? Yeah. So if we get something, React will shortly have it. If they get something, we will shortly have it. But can you show us? Like, because I mean, it's going to be similar for those Angularites in the audience.
Absolutely.
At least in that function in UI, but yeah. So you've got your different.
Right.
What do they call them?
Columns.
Do they call them columns? They call them
columns. Yeah, and that'll be how it's referred to in your code as well. So you can see over here. This one takes a couple kind of subcomponent setups, just because there's so many bits and pieces. So you can see here. You set up your columns and you can customize them. I've done mine in like a traditional to-do kind of way, but you could set them in any category at all to categorize anything at all by changing your title and your status and all of that. And then you can also set priorities that are applied to each one of your individual items.
Okay.
And then they've got some of these hooks that handle filtering, that handle like column updating, task data updating, because all of this as well, like you can set everything in the code, but then if you want it to be editable by your users, they'll have that option as well to go in and rename. I'll call that like upcoming, right, instead of to do. They can go in and edit all of that also, including your cards.
Okay.
And the priority of your cards and all of that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you can customize all of that to load exactly how you like it. You can turn off editing, although I wouldn't suggest it for this one. This feels like, you know, a component that's meant to be interactive. But yeah, and you can rearrange all of everything. But yeah, basically you'll call your task board and then you'll get the toolbar as well. And that's this guy along the top that allows you to search. So like if I wanted to narrow down my cards, I can start doing that. And you can also customize the content of your cards. So you can see here, I opted to display the priority because like for me personally, that's something that weighs heavily into how I would choose to go about my tasks. But in the demo, they've chosen to go with a more kind of like visual. They put these images in each one, which is really nice. So you can have your cards show whatever you want. You just hop over into your card JSX and you can put whatever. So here I've just stuck the priority props in there, but I could put, I don't know, what's something fun that we should play in the card? Keep up the good work. When I hop back over, that should show up in every single one. So if you wanted to put images or times or deadlines,
priorities on the side, is that just like an attribute to like color the card with the priority?
So that's built in, which is really nice. Schedule. So you'll see up over here, each priority has an associated color you can choose. The default, I think, is like a green, orange, red, or something, like a stoplight standard thing. I, of course, updated it because I've never been relaxed a day in my life. So mine got updated. And it's a quick way for users to kind of skim over and see the status on things. And we'll see if I did this correctly. Hypothetically, when I update this, it should change. Yes. So even as they go in and update things, it'll keep your styling and all of that. Oop. And that was urgent already. It can be low. Let's see.
And then show us how you customize the card, like look. Like, how did you get it to dark mode? Was that all you? And then how did you get the rounded edges? Like,
so that actually, because I'm handling all of those styles really high up, I didn't have to do anything when I imported.
Nice.
That has been, so I've got, these are my high level styles. Yeah, this guy's huge. But it's the Sass variables that align with everything, all the colors and all the everything is handled here. And that's something that I exported from Unite UX. And so now, because those variables, we use the same Sass variables across everything, because we have worked so hard to make sure that our Figma kits are aligned automatically. Even with new components like this that aren't yet reflected in our Figma kits, when you put them in, you'll get all of this applied out of the box. So the only thing that I did have to go in and change were those side colors, because they were defined within the component itself, right? Because that was part of over here. I couldn't find where I was going. But yeah, because the priorities are specific, right? And are defined in the component. Yeah. If I'd really wanted to, I probably could have like imported my variables and like worked something out to like hook it up. And this is quick and dirty because release happened yesterday and live should be happening today. So I updated them manually. Ideally, of course, you'd want it hooked in to your larger style set. But I would say 99% of everything was styled out of the box when I dropped it in.
That's so cool. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's really like every time I add a new component and I see it just kind of like click into place and I don't have to make any adjustments, it highlights how much work our team has really put into that kind of consistency and that kind of like structure with our styles, which is huge. That's not an easy task. Like, oh man. But yeah, so I was really, really excited, really happy with that. But those were our two big component releases that we got. I really encourage you to go check out the TaskBoard and the docs, because they've got a lot you can play with. And there's over here a lot of stuff you can do in regards to custom rendering and really making it look however you want, right? Like I went in and just did a little bit, but these have examples of like totally customizing the column header, the column body, the card header. Like you can break this down as granular as you need, so that you're not just necessarily customizing the content of what shows up in each card. You're customizing the actual look and feel of the entire component itself and all of its subcomponents. So, sorry, I laughed at the comment. Did I miss the Star Trek themed TaskBoard? Just barely. It's still up. So,
and
for
beautiful.
For my other Trek fans that I made a little like Janeway's. Oh, that's what happened. I somehow got this like split vertically. I hate that. Okay. I was like, why would I want that? I wanted to go remove that line that I added in card. This is keep up the good work.
Yes.
But yeah, for those who are Star Trek fans, I made a little Janeway's to-do list board. She's one of the captains. She's the captain of Voyager, and set some of her tasks, some things that happen in the show, as well as their associated priorities. So
I love that.
it's a little Easter egg. And open source that it is. In fact, if you are looking GitHub, you can go to my GitHub, and Kendo demo is here for everyone. And that has everything you see here. You can clone this, you can fork it, do whatever, play with it. Absolutely, completely open access. You do, of course, need a KendoReact license, but you can also try it free for 30 days. So if you just want to play around, maybe you want to do Captain Benjamin Sisko's TaskBoard or Captain Picard's TaskBoard, you can get started, and you can start with a free 30-day trial and see if it has everything you need. If you have any questions, and that 30 days includes like full access to our support and our forums and like the whole 9 yards. So yes, it is in fact open sourced. Go clone it, go play. It's a lot of fun, obviously.
And obviously used for the next company dashboard you need to build.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm biased, but I genuinely, like, my Notion is entirely a to-do list of that. Like, it looks exactly that way. Kathryn's personal task board. The to-dos are long.
Beautiful.
So the fact that we can just build that now. Oh yeah, if we could add the Elcar sound effects, that would be money. Maybe I should look into that. I bet they're open source somewhere. Like I bet someone's posted them online.
Yes.
I'm not.
Have you played around? Have you played around with sound on like?
Not much. I'm not usually a fan of things making noise, like while I'm browsing. But also, if I was able to like build in a little mute button or something, like it could be fun because it does. Mm-hmm. There's some sounds that are very like Star Trek, that feel very, very of that. It feels like as much a part of the UI as the actual interface, I would say, is the like, because so much of the computer system in Star Trek was voice activated, and so there is a lot of like touchscreen stuff, but there's also a lot of like the computer reading things, which makes sense for a TV show. Like, if you're gonna have people watch stuff, it's really boring to just watch someone type into a console.
So I think I just like map, like wasn't working for Angular. So I just tried the PivotGrid and it worked.
Do you want to share your screen? You can jump back.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just a little like, what the heck? Does that make any like does anyone say, yeah, that logic's like, because you can see the failure up here when I'm just trying to add here, I'll make this larger than life again, full screen it. Just trying to add the map, and it was like, absolutely not. And then I was like, maybe please PivotGrid, and it was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, what the heck? no one else, everyone's like, this is fine, this makes total sense. Okay, so apparently I'm thinking it's definitely a dependency thing on my end for the map, but I got PivotGrid going, so that's exciting. I'm gonna go ahead and add it in so I can see it in all its glory. Also, what's your vote? Do you think the PivotGrid will break horribly when I try to put it in this tiny box?
Yeah, the PivotGrid is so complex. Like,
he's chunky.
I just think it's gonna scroll forever. You're just gonna get like one header block. I think it'll work. I
feel like I would take scroll forever over horribly broken, right? Like,
I don't think it will break. I just think it will be effectively useless.
Okay, we've got PivotGrid, and then I need to get some PivotGrid goodies. Hey, look, I'm not the only one. I'm gonna make this chunky. I'm not the only one. Look, fam.
Yeah.
I'm like, style should cascade, grumpy face. I know. I fight like almost everyone in Angular on this one, but apparently I'm not alone. So it's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. Let's grab this data. Let's see. You in
while you're doing
there.
that, I'm gonna laugh at this comment. This is the alternate Star Trek universe where all of the UI is terminal based, which would be miserable to watch. But fun fact, did you know that the voice of the computer on Star Trek is the creator Gene Roddenberry's wife? She does the voice for the computer system.
That's so cool.
She also plays a couple of roles as well. She's in the original series as the nurse, and then she's Loxana Troy in TNG, in Troy's mom. But yeah, that was she did the voice for all of the computer interactions, and she also did all of the like next time on Star Trek, the exciting conclusion, all the like tag stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, it's really sweet. And another fun fact while you're doing this, they had her record her voice in phonetic chunks so that they could
put it together. Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
So they have her voice forever, so she can be the voice of the computer.
Aww,
even when she's passed away. I thought that was really lovely.
Are you grumpy at me? So grumpy. Sorry, it's not you. It's
no, it's all good. Do you mind if I talk for a minute about our new Create React app templates while you debug?
Do it. Or, you want to screen share? You want to screen share while you do it?
Yeah, I can do it. It's not like super exciting to watch, but it is super exciting as a thing that exists. So for those who might not be React familiar, might not have heard of Create React app, that is a really quick and easy way to start a new React project. So you can just like spin it up, use the commands that are part of Create React app already, and it will like dump you a whole new project. But if you're using Kendo, there were extra steps previously to install Kendo and get your licensing set up and like all of that hoopla. But we have added a couple of templates. Create React app allows you to kind of add on to what they have. And we've created 4 new Create React app project templates for Create KendoReact app. So you can create just Kendo and it'll use vanilla JS and CSS. You can do CRA template Kendo Sass, which will use vanilla JS and Sass. You can do CRA template Kendo TypeScript, which will do obviously TypeScript and vanilla CSS. And then of course, CRA template TypeScript Sass, if you are someone who wants all the goodies. So I'll go ahead and run really briefly. I'll do just like the basic one, right? So, and I'll pump this up. Oh, I should not do it here. This is in my demo. Should I open a new tab? So I told you my terminal was pink too.
I know.
You're not alone.
It's a bit full.
The Kendo command now found? Oh, that's because what did I do? I did this once and it worked perfectly. This is embarrassing. Oh no. Let me open it.
That's like the rule of thumb though, right? Like it has to happen. We're live, right? Like
it just means that I have something in the thing wrong. Oh, it's NPX. That's why. It's not NPM, it's NPX. I just can't read. I did not. John Delancey's in My Little Pony? I had no idea.
What? What?
Oh, we're gonna just Google that real quick. We found the place where our interests overlap, and it's John Delancey.
Wait, so who is he in My Little Pony?
Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
Discord.
That's
it. He says it even
That's
says
what he
it right
said.
here is
Yeah.
Discord. And I just can't read.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Discord is like this total chaos character who like just like throws all rules out the window, and he's like,
that's hilarious.
just giving the ponies all kinds of crap, like all kinds of
and
crap.
that's exactly this paragraph says Delancey's character Discord was inspired by his character Q from the 1987 television series Star Trek The Next Generation. Originally, they wanted to cast someone who could impersonate Delancey, but Hasbro suggested casting Delancey himself.
Oh my gosh. So that whole character like is my only view into Star Trek now. Like is like that character Q. That is so funny.
That is hilarious. I had no idea. Thank you for pointing that out.
He snaps his fingers in both. Sorry, I took that down. Oh, that's
he doesn't have fingers, right? He's got hooves. How do they snap? I got questions about my own pony.
He's not necessarily a pony. He's kind of this weird, like 100% chaos role of a creature, like who has like magic, but like does he use it for good? Does he use it for bad? Like it's all over the place. And like he himself is just like this mishmash. Like if you go back to the image of things, like it's very
Q. That is exactly in Star Trek TNG. He plays Q, which is an alien, a member of the Q continuum, and they like have control over like time and space, and he's forever just like snapping his fingers and making weird crap happen. And like putting people somewhere. There's a really great episode where he throws all of the characters into the Robin Hood story, and they all he makes them like play through the whole thing, or like he summons a mariachi band to the bridge. Like
I'm like wondering how many references now I've missed in My Little Pony. Like, because if they pulled that whole character in, I'm like, there's got to be a lot that I missed, like of cool like cultural references. Because I'm just like, oh yeah, it's My Little Pony. Like, that's really cool. Thank you for bringing that up. I had no idea.
I'm so glad that we both got to learn that. That was thrilling. So let's see. Here is my React app. It showed up there. Where's my... I'm just opening now. That was actually a perfect way to kill the time while Create React app ran. So now...
Right. Does the blog post detail this as well?
I believe, yes, it is included.
Okay. It's like, this is a really cool... like it's not a component, but like it's a cool thing that's part of the release that is like, I don't know, I think this is so awesome.
Yeah, it really
I love it.
Super cool.
I love it.
Yeah. There we go. I was like, why can I get nothing to open? All right, so here's the absolute like base setup Create React app. So you can see it's using our KendoReact buttons. That's already set up. If you hop over into the package JSON, it's got a bunch of our like basic packages already set up for you. Everything's already for you to go. And then let's see, I'll stop my other guy and run this. Oop. No. Oh, because I'm not in the thing. Haha. Today's just going to be an embarrassing day for hands, I guess.
That one.
All right. That's not right. Did I start the wrong one? Oh, no, it's still reloading. That's why. I was like, no, that's my other one. Yeah. So this is what you'll get when you start completely from scratch with Create React app. So just a total green field for you to start building your project with, but with all of your React stuff, all your template boilerplatey things set up, as well as all your Kendo boilerplatey things. And this lovely Kendoka SVG. You get that for free. We just throw that right in. That's yours.
Free!
You can just keep it. But yeah, otherwise, like everything's all set up in terms of React projects. Super nice. And yeah, not a dumb question at all. I absolutely did not write 36,000 lines of CSS by hand because I do not hate myself. What I did was use our software Unite UX. That's amazing.
What happened?
My subscription is expired because I haven't been doing a good job of keeping everything up to date. That was horrifying. Where's the about page? There we go. Christ.
Oh.
Fight. It was a fight. So we have a wonderful piece of software that's called Unite UX. And it works especially well when used in tandem with our Figma kits, right? And it allows you to customize everything. Figma, I know at least my I know I have everything for. Where's my LCARs? Where's the search button? LCARs Kendo. So
you are a Figma pro, is what I'm hearing.
I love Figma, absolutely. Which they had some very exciting things. Not to like hype up someone else during our release, but Figma had a bunch of cool release stuff as well. Just a couple of days ago with config. One of the things that I thought was extra fun is that both Figma and us dropped dark mode in
I love it
within a week,
and it was totally planned.
But yeah, so if you are, for example, using our Figma kits, you could hypothetically use Figma in dark mode, move over into Unite UX, move over into Kendo, and the whole time you will never have to look at a screen in light mode.
Which apparently makes people very grumpy. I don't know. I'm a light mode girl.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. But yeah, so you can see
Good
here,
Lord. The
I've
effort you put into
customized
this. Oh my gosh.
our Figma kits to reflect the LCARS styling. And that's part of why when you were like, how did you update? Like, how did you get everything to have rounded corners and like all of that? It's because I've already gone in here and I've updated all of our design tokens here. So like, see, my colors have been updated here, and like button borders and button text and like all of these kind of, right? So all of these things, these styles, you can customize. Those are all in Figma and they all line up one-to-one with the Sass variables in our components.
I see. So you use Figma, customize the crap out of it.
Yep.
Exported into...
Moved it into Unite UX via our plugin here.
Yes.
Exporting handoff. Right. So it won't work for me because my Unite UX subscription has expired. But
we really have like lifetime employee licenses for things. We don't like we have to go through the same renewal process. It's very painful. So
I've just been very lazy.
So then you go, you export to Unite UX, but then what? Like, and Unite UX.
Unite UX allows you to kind of do like a quick comparison. So there I can see the styles that it's automatically kind of generated based on my design tokens. I can see those applied to our components. I can see that side by side with my actual Figma file. So I can go, it's got like a little slider along the bottom and you can compare with a direct overlay.
Pulled that like type of slider demo into our docs even where you can see the differences.
We did.
Yeah. That's where I'm like trying to figure out where that is.
Figma kits. Oh, here we go.
There it is.
Built
yeah,
that
slider.
Right. So you can see over here, built with KendoReact on one side, designed with Kendo UI kit for Figma on the other. And it's almost like it almost doesn't, it works too well. Like you almost cannot tell. But yeah, so that was.
So you're looking at that in Unite UX. You're like, yes, this is what I wanted. And then you, from there, do you go into ThemeBuilder or is ThemeBuilder not part of the chain of events?
I don't use ThemeBuilder just because I don't need to with this setup. It's an alternative, I would say.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, what I've got is what's exported. You can also do. Love that I'm just Googling all of this and don't know the actual URL for anything.
I'm the same way, or I have bookmarks. I'm like, there it is.
Yeah. An alternate approach that you can take is to use our ThemeBuilder. That will allow you to select, like, I'm going to go ahead and say all components, right? come into here, and then you kind of see with this banner, right? Like Unite UX is the next step up from the theme builder. If you just want to go in and like toggle a few colors and like, oh, well, my brand color is actually green, so I want my buttons to be green and not red. Like,
yeah,
you can make those updates here, see them immediately reflected. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. I want everything in shades of green because I'm going to build a really confusing user interface where everything looks the same. So yeah, and then you can see those changes automatically reflected across all of these components in a little preview, right? So all of my green everywhere, all the way through my buttons and icons and loading things and whatever. And then you can just slam this download button, and it'll open up a little zip file that has all the same kind of like, right, CSS, and it must be this one. There we go. Where's all of the goods?
Yeah.
I guess I only really changed a couple things. So
where's
anyway,
the color
it's all
now? Like,
in
I'm
here.
like, where's the color?
Oh, that's because I'm in the
Green
wrong
color?
folder. This is the Create React app thing.
I'm like,
why
the
is
green
that
color.
working?
It's not there. I don't see it. Okay.
Green done zip. It's because it's not like auto opening.
Where is?
There we go. Green.css and green.sass. Right. So like this is also a giant, however many thousand, whatever folder, where everything you can see here is my like green getting applied to
there she is.
everything.
Okay.
So that's opening the wrong thing. So again, the theme today is Kathryn cannot read. So, but yeah,
don't worry. As soon as we go off camera, you will be able to read again. It'll
absolutely.
be back.
That's how it works. But yeah, so in the jet, yeah, I highly suggest learning Figma. I think it's a really powerful tool. I think it's free to use. I think they have done a lot of work to make it developer friendly. And we've got a lot of stuff that integrates really, really well using Figma's platform and Kendo. So yes. And in fact, we've got on the YouTube page a series of videos. We just had a bunch of kind of Figma focused UI Mondays. So you can check those out. There's one here on Unite UX. There's one here, Figma for developers. There's one here, Figma kits for UI component libraries. Like, and there's some stuff in our blogs as well. Oops, this is just mine. Haha. That's not really what I wanted. But you can scope through all of our blogs. And we've got a bunch of content.
Yeah, Napalm was asking, so people don't write CSS by hand. Clearly I'm behind. Yeah, so yes and no. I feel like my husband, for instance, he's a UI developer and that's all he does. But also they use a component library like Kendo UI to get started. And then for custom work or customizing, he'll write by hand or do things that he needs to. So there, it really just depends. And his job right before this one was all custom work. Like they didn't use any. And so I think it really depends on your team, right? Like, and what your needs are and where you're at. But I think what Kathryn's showing is just like the power of our products combined to make this really, because if you pull up your LCAR system, it's just really custom versions of our components. And she was saying earlier in the stream that she can throw any new component that we create into her application and she doesn't need to make those changes because she's already done the legwork to like make sure her theme is built out. And so anything that Kendo UI can now like be imported will have that theme. And so I think, I really think no, people do write CSS by hand. Kathryn and I write CSS by hand, and we'll add on top of this to make our own custom stuff. But
I was about to say, like, even LCARs has a ton of custom CSS. So right, like each one of these components, I know it's hard to see it's hard. You can't zoom in on like the tree nav.
The sidebar. Yeah.
So annoying. But each one of my components also has a Sass file that accompanies it that has custom CSS that's been written for that specific component, right? And so some are the frame is this piece that goes around the side that includes the nav menu and everything. And so that's got a lot of like grid. And that was all done custom by hand because it's just something outside the scope of our components. But yeah, when I'm talking about like base styles, CSS variables, like the border radius, the customization for the text colors in every single one of our components, absolutely, I do not do that by hand. I'm a big fan of efficiency or perhaps just laziness. Yeah, if I can get it done in one way and then not have to sweat it. But
yeah. Napalm said, I always wanted to use UIs, but I was shunned for when I use Kendo, Bootstrap, etc. It's perceived as only good for POC stuff. It's just so funny because like it's like we've gotten to this point where we have so much, even the demos that Carl was showing. Like, I mean, like we just have so much that like, I don't know, it's way beyond a POC in my mind. But also I've had a lot of fun. Like I had a lot of pain in my last job customizing Bootstrap. It's just very Bootstrap can be very handsy, and I haven't had that experience with Kendo UI. So I guess it really just depends on what direction you go in and how custom you need to do things. True.
Yeah, I definitely get it. I have been that UI UX guy for a long time. And I think it is something not to like, and you know what, actually, to really hype up Kendo because this is our stream and I can hype it up as much as I want. But that's something that I think really sets us apart from other component libraries and UI kits that are out there, is that we have prioritized not just the developer experience, but also the designer experience. And that's something that's really different and really, I think a lot of times designers feel stuck because the developer will get the final say on what UI kit or component library they're using. And then a designer is stuck working around that and dealing with the technical limitations and the design choices of that library. Kendo's really different because we prioritize both of those users because both of them are equally important in the creation of the app, right? Like the designer and the developer both play equal parts and deserve to have equal say and equal control. And so we've created stuff like the Figma kits and Unite UX that really allow the designers to get in and have full control and not feel like they're fighting all the time or stuck within the limitations. And then obviously we talk a lot about the developer experience of Kendo, which I think is fantastic. But I think that's something, that designer experience is something that I don't see in some of our competitors and something that I'm really proud of. And a lot of what got me onto the Kendo team in the first place, because I was hesitant I had been before this as a big advocate for role in your own component library. I was like, that's what if you really want a component library, you have to do it from scratch to have full control. I was proven wrong.
I honestly, that was exactly where I was at. And I wasn't won over until like a year into the job. Because you have to work with it to believe that it's really not going to be as painful as I think a lot of us have experienced. So
yeah. So yeah, I feel the hesitation and I try really hard. That's a lot of why you'll see me talking about design stuff and giving talks on design and living in the design space. Because that's something that I'm really proud that we do as a company, is that we live in the design space and we're invested in the design experience. So there's my soapbox. I'll get off it now.
I love it. Oh goodness. So what day is it? May 18th is our next.
Yeah, is the webinars.
Hubbub, which is, what day is that? What day of the week?
Thursday.
Is it a Thursday? I know. I'm like, dates.
I'll look. It's either a Wednesday or Thursday.
It looks like it is a Wednesday.
So Wednesday. I was off by one.
Good old off by one error. Okay, Wednesday. Yeah, thank you, Smitty. you always know the date. Of course you do. Thanks for hanging out, Napalm. We're actually wrapping, but hopefully we'll get to see you all next week on Wednesday for our webinar where we'll go into more details. And of course, Kathryn and I will be streaming same bat channel, same bat time for our other streams as well. So
come hang out with us. It's fun as always.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for showing up and being an amazing chat. Mwah. Bye guys.
See y'all.